Assalamu alaikum. Have you ever felt like something was keeping you from moving forward? Like you were on the verge of a major step in life, only to find yourself stuck in a waiting phase? If so, you're not alone. But what if this delay isn't a setback, but a divine setup? What if God is orchestrating something far greater than you imagined? Picture this. The person you've been waiting for, the one who still seems just out of reach, might be the very one God has chosen for you. A kingdom bridegroom, perfectly aligned with his plan. In this video, we'll dive into how God's timing can sometimes hold you back, only to guide you toward a life-changing, purpose-filled marriage. Intrigued? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might transform your view of waiting and patience. 1. The divine wisdom behind patience. It is human to want to move forward, to desire to achieve our goals quickly, especially when it comes to things that touch our hearts deeply, like a romantic relationship or marriage. But sometimes, despite our efforts, we find ourselves in a waiting phase. This wait, which can seem endless, can also be a gift in disguise. We are used to seeing patience as a test, a burden to bear. But it is actually a form of divine protection. Do you feel like God is holding you back? What if it wasn't an obstacle, but rather a moment of preparation, a phase where Allah prepares you to welcome the blessing you deserve? Patience is not just about holding on. It is an invitation to understand that every moment is precious. Each moment of waiting is an opportunity for inner purification. Perhaps you are called to strengthen your faith, purify your heart of worldly desires, or learn true dependence on Allah. This process is essential because sometimes we need to get rid of things before true good can come into our lives. It's easy to think that if God doesn't answer our prayers immediately, it's because He has forgotten us. But in reality, He is always there in every moment of silence. This silence, this waiting, is a form of mercy. If you are going through a time where you feel like everything is slowing down, remember that God is not holding you back to punish you, but to protect you and to prepare you to receive what is best for you, even if you don't understand it yet. Divine wisdom is beyond anything we can imagine. What we perceive as a delay is actually a hidden gift, a gift that God has in store for us to guide us toward a better version of ourselves. Are you ready to embrace waiting with patience and faith? For sometimes, in this silence of waiting, Allah reveals to us lessons that we never learn in haste. Maybe it's not a question of time, but a question of preparation. Just like a seed needs time to germinate and grow before yielding a delicious fruit, perhaps Allah is preparing you to receive a life-changing blessing. But first, it requires time to mature. Patience is not only a virtue, it is a way of saying to Allah, I am willing to wait because I know that everything you do for my good. It involves letting go, detaching ourselves from our immediate desires, and letting Allah decide the best time for us. It is not a question of when, but how we prepare ourselves to receive this divine blessing. Are you going through a waiting period? Do you feel this calm, this whisper in your heart, the one that tells you to trust in the divine plan? So take this moment to refocus, to purify your intentions and desires, and prepare yourself to receive what God has in store for you. 2. The concept of a soulmate in Islam. In today's world, we often talk about a soulmate as that special person who seems to be made for us, the one with whom we share a deep connection, an immediate complicity. But in Islam, the idea of a soulmate goes beyond a simple romantic concept. It is a spiritual connection, divinely orchestrated, which aims to bring us closer to Allah while supporting us on our journey here on earth. This link is not just the result of chance, but the manifestation of a divine plan that goes beyond us. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, created us to live in communities and relationships. He created us with emotional, spiritual, and physical needs, and these needs are met in authentic relationships. When you feel a deep connection with a person, when you see in them not just a partner but a soul who completes you, this may be the person God intended to be your kingdom bridegroom. Marriage in Islam is not simply a union of love and desire. It is, above all, a path to tranquility, a means of achieving inner peace, a relationship based on mercy, benevolence, and faith. Marriage is an act of submission to the will of Allah, a means of strengthening one's own faith through others. When two souls unite under the blessing of Allah, they not only form an alliance to support each other in, but also to support each other spiritually, to guide each other towards good, and to worship Allah together. It is this relationship, full of complicity and divine love, that we must never lose sight of. Trust in Allah. Every day you wait becomes an opportunity to strengthen that confidence, to believe that what you are waiting for can only come from Him, and that everything that happens in your life is according to His wisdom. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed by frustration or impatience. Waiting is a form of divine preparation that shapes your heart to be ready to welcome the love Allah has planned for you. So, in every moment of waiting, remember that you are preparing for something great. You are becoming the person you need to be for this blessed union, this relationship that not only brings you closer to a human being, but brings you closer to Allah. This path of waiting is just as sacred as the moment you unite with this person. It is a spiritual preparation to receive the best blessing that Allah can offer, a marriage that will bring you closer to Him. 4. The role of trust in Allah in the quest for marriage. One of the most fundamental elements when it comes to preparing your heart for a sacred union is trust in Allah. Complete trust in divine wisdom is the key that opens the door to inner peace during waiting. In a world where we constantly seek immediate answers, patience and faith in Allah teach us that sometimes we just have to let things unfold according to divine timing. It's not a matter of pressuring God or fighting against His plan, but of trusting Him every step of the journey. Allah, in His infinite greatness, knows what is best for us and knows the exact moment when we should receive what He has prepared for us. If you feel like you are in a waiting period, remember that everything that happens in your life is a reflection of the will of Allah, and He always has a perfect plan, even when we don't yet understand what's going on. When you find yourself waiting for your destined person, it can be easy to doubt and wonder why it's taking so long. It's natural to feel frustrated or even discouraged by uncertainty, but trust in Allah teaches us that this uncertainty is only an illusion, because He has absolute control over everything that happens. The true act of faith is recognizing that Allah's plan is better than ours. Even when the wait seems endless, He is orchestrating everything for you so you receive what you deserve at the perfect time. Trust in Allah is understanding that even in uncertainty, there is no room for doubt. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And your Lord creates what He wills and chooses. They have no choice." Surah Al-Qasas 28:68. This verse reminds us that even when we think we have everything under control, in reality, Allah is the one who directs everything with perfect wisdom. This understanding creates in us a deep sense of security and tranquility. Indeed, trust in Allah is not simply a question of intellectual belief, but of lived faith. It manifests itself in our attitude towards daily life, especially when things don't go as planned. If you are in a waiting phase and feel that the person you want is not yet there, know that Allah is with you in every moment of uncertainty. He hasn't forgotten you. On the contrary, He may be preparing something much greater for you. Your patience and trust are ways to draw closer to Allah, purify your heart, and show your submission to His will. Trust in Allah does not mean inaction, but trust in Allah does not just mean remaining passive or waiting without action. Although you have complete trust in divine wisdom, that does not mean you should stop searching or preparing. On the contrary, Islam teaches us that faith is a combination of trust in Allah and personal effort. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Do what you can to get closer to your destiny, but know that Allah is the one who determines the outcome." This means that it is our duty to actively seek, to care for ourselves, to prepare for this divine encounter, while trusting that Allah will direct things in the best possible way. Trust in Allah should never be an excuse for inaction. Rather, it pushes us to constantly improve, to be the best version of ourselves, while letting Allah decide when and how He grants us the blessing of marriage. Thus, each moment of waiting becomes an act of faith. You do not wait in uncertainty or anguish, but in the certainty that when the time comes, Allah will send you what is best for you. There is no room for doubt in the heart of a believer. Trust in Allah reminds us that we are in the hands of the Creator of the universe, and that even if we do not immediately see the good in our current situation, He is there, very close to us, ready to offer us what is perfect for us. So, in every moment of waiting, ask yourself, do I trust in Allah? If the answer is yes, know that you are already on the right path, and that you are receiving the blessings that He is preparing for you. Fifth, divine signs in the waiting process. Waiting for a sacred union is never a passive process. It is part of our faith, a means of purifying the soul and strengthening our connection with Allah. But here's the challenge. Many of us are looking for our soulmate, that perfect person who matches our ideal, without really understanding that the true soulmate is the one destined to guide us in the path of Allah. Marriage should not be seen only from the perspective of physical or emotional compatibility, but, most importantly, from the perspective of spiritual alignment. A kindred spirit in Islam is one who helps us get closer to Allah, one with whom we can share not only the joys of life, but also the difficult times, while remaining firmly anchored in our faith. Waiting for this person is not about simply finding someone we like, but rather someone who will complete our spiritual mission on earth. And if you feel this waiting, this sensation that the person destined for you is not yet here, perhaps this is precisely the moment for you to concentrate on your own purification and prepare yourself for this sacred union. You must first be ready to welcome this divine love, to understand that your soulmate is the one who will guide you, not only in happy moments, but also in the trials of life. And when that moment arrives, when you meet that person, you will understand that it is not a coincidence. This meeting is a sign from Allah, a testimony of His greatness and His mercy. It's not just a matter of emotional compatibility, but of sharing a common spiritual vision. The true soulmate is the one who will help you find balance through Allah in all aspects of your life. She will be the person who encourages you to persevere, to make sacrifices, to be a better version of yourself, and above all, to never lose sight of the direction in which Allah is guiding you. So don't let the wait discourage you. The person Allah intended for you is on His way. You are called to prepare yourself to receive this divine blessing. When this bond is formed, you will know that it was written, that it was the divine plan all along. True love is the one that brings us closer to Allah. It is precious and deserves to be waited for with faith and patience. 3. Preparation for divine union. One of the greatest challenges we face as believers is understanding that sometimes we have to wait before Allah's blessing is fully manifested in our lives. This waiting is not a void, it is a phase of spiritual preparation. In Islam, everything has its time, and every moment we spend waiting is an opportunity to strengthen our faith and purify our hearts. It is as if Allah were telling us, "I'm preparing something better for you, but first, you have to be ready to receive it." Preparation for a sacred union does not begin with meeting the person destined for us. It begins long before, in the soul. It is essential to understand that marriage in Islam is not simply a meeting of two individuals, but a meeting between two souls who have prepared themselves, both in this world and in the hereafter. Spiritual preparation before union is essential, as the soul must be ready to engage in a relationship that is a means of worshipping Allah together. Marriage then becomes a sacred commitment, a pact between two people before Allah to build a life based on faith, patience, mercy, and divine love. Waiting then becomes a form of purification. Maybe you are in that phase today where you feel like nothing is happening, but in reality, Allah is giving you time to rise. It is a time to refocus on yourself and on your relationship with Allah. It is a time when it is necessary to think about your intentions, about what you are really looking for in a relationship. Is it a search for true love, peace of mind, or spiritual companionship? This phase is an opportunity to purify your desires and align them with what Allah wants for you. While waiting for this divine encounter, you have the opportunity to work on yourself. Sometimes we think waiting is a hindrance, but rather it is a way to prepare for a greater blessing. Patience as a virtue. Patience is a virtue that teaches us to understand that Allah's perfection is found in the timing He chooses. This is a time to strengthen our relationship with Him, to increase our godliness, and to ensure that we are spiritually ready to make our marriage a form of worship. Preparation is not only about the heart, but also about the mind and actions. Allah tells us that we must be ready for what awaits us. It also means that we must learn to be responsible, take care of ourselves, cultivate discipline, and prepare for the responsibilities of marriage. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The best believer is the one who is best to his family." This shows that marriage is not just about finding a partner, but also about preparing to become a good spouse. We must be ready to care for the other, support the other, and contribute to the harmony of the relationship. Recognizing divine signs. During this period of waiting, every moment is an opportunity to observe the divine signs manifesting in our lives. These signs can come in different forms: a feeling of peace, unexpected encounters, advice from loved ones, events that remind us that the divine plan is in motion. In Islam, we firmly believe that everything that happens to us, whether positive or difficult, is a sign from Allah. When we are waiting for that special person, that soulmate, it is essential to recognize the signs that guide us towards this blessed union. 1. Inner peace. The first sign you may encounter in your waiting is inner peace. When you are truly in alignment with Allah's will, you feel a deep tranquility and inner calm that allows you to face uncertainty without being overwhelmed. Allah tells us in the Quran, "The believers are those whose hearts are tranquilized by the mention of Allah." Is it not by the evocation of Allah that hearts are tranquilized? Surah 13:28. If you are in a phase of life where you feel this peace despite the wait, it is a sign that you are in perfect harmony with the divine plan. This tranquility does not mean that everything is easy, but it indicates that you are living in acceptance of divine will. 2. Spiritual and personal growth. Another key sign is spiritual and personal growth during this waiting period. When you move through this time without losing confidence, but rather focusing on your faith and personal development, you begin to prepare for this union in a deeper way. You may notice that your relationship with Allah becomes stronger, your prayers more sincere, and you develop a better understanding of yourself and what you are truly looking for in a relationship. This spiritual growth is a sign from Allah that He is preparing you to receive what is meant for you, and that you are ready to care for this sacred relationship when it manifests. 3. Meetings and advice from others. Sometimes Allah uses people around you, friends, family members, or even strangers, to guide you in the right direction. A sincere piece of advice, a comforting word, or even an unexpected encounter can prove to be clues to the path you should follow. You might hear words that resonate deep in your heart, reminding you that you are not alone on your journey. These signs remind us that although we wait, Allah guides us through this process. 4. Unexpected events. Unexpected events are also a way for Allah to remind us that He is in control. Sometimes a situation that seemed hopeless finds a sudden solution, or a person you never imagined appears in your life, bringing with them wisdom or opportunity that helps you understand the direction you need to take. These events are not coincidences. They are divine interventions that direct you towards your destiny. 5. Trials and difficulties. It is important to note that trials and difficulties during the wait can also be signs from Allah. Sometimes we think our trials are an obstacle, but in reality they are part of the purification process. Allah says in the Quran, "We test people with evil and good as a test, and to us you will return." Surah Al-Anbiya 21:35. These difficulties help you develop deep patience, increase trust in Allah, and a more resilient character so that you can be ready to welcome this divine blessing with the necessary maturity. Final thoughts. In summary, every sign in this period of waiting is part of the divine plan. It is important to keep your eyes open and your heart ready to receive these signs. The key is to never lose hope. Never doubt the goodness of Allah. Embrace every moment, both the hardships and the peace. Every difficulty and every moment of peace brings you closer to the moment when Allah, in His infinite wisdom, will guide you to the person you are destined to meet. Pay attention to these signs and continue to trust in Allah, because He is always there in every moment, and He knows exactly what is good for you. A final message of hope. Allah does not hold us back by chance. He guides us toward what is destined to be a blessing in our lives. If you are going through a period of waiting, remember, your destined bride may be closer than you realize. Trust that Allah's plan is always perfect. Stay hopeful and keep praying. Patience leads to the greatest rewards. If this message speaks to you, remember to subscribe to the channel. Share this video with those who need to hear it. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. Remain steadfast in faith. The best blessings come to those who wait with a sincere heart.